out what it is that you want to create. Creation that comes from within and creation that you put out into the world is so much more valuable than just talking about the things that the next person is talking about. Social media is moving way too fast and our nervous systems cannot keep up. Stop doing that. Welcome back to my channel. By the way, if you're on my Instagram, you know the deal with the caffeine addiction at the moment. Today, I really want to get in there. I'm gonna say some things to that cute little brain of yours. I'm gonna ask you a question. Let's see what your feelings are and how your body reacts to this question. When was your mind truly quiet? When you felt a genuine sense of calmness going on in your mind. Maybe for some of us, our mind is truly at peace when we are meditating. I know for me, when I'm meditating, that's when I can genuinely feel a sense of just calmness. And of course, this takes time to build up. I remember when I first started meditating, I would sit there and I time would go by and I just be so in my head that I had no idea what that inner calmness, what that peace actually felt like. Because I had so many thoughts running through my head. 90% of these weren't even mine. These were thoughts that either I heard from someone else or, just things that I'm worrying about from my past or things I'm worried about my future, but never felt a sense of just being happy with this present moment right here. So I want to ask you, when was the last time you genuinely felt that way? Again, it could be through when you're meditating, it can be when you're reading. Our mind doesn't really want us to be happy. If you really think about it, the baseline of this reality that we live in is a negative. So, what ends up happening is you become so consumed in that negative pathway that you forget there's another pathway. This is honestly how I would explain it to a younger version of myself. So, when I'm making these videos, I really tap into what my inner child might want to hear or my inner, not even child, like my inner who I was 2 years ago or even 2 days ago. I'm always looking for opportunities to grow on a regular basis. So I'm saying these things and they're making sense to me. So I hope this really resonates and makes sense for you as well. Well, the other pathway is the one where all of our creation takes place. It is where we control and we create that path instead of falling into the other one, which is where things are a lot more negative. I'm going to give you some examples of both. When you're doing your own thing, you have a sense of awareness. In these moments, that's when we are in full control. Now, what often happens is when things start to dull up, when days go by, weeks go by where we feel so low and everything looks back to the way it was. Again, this is the negative timeline, the negative pathway that we fall into. So all the doubts, all the fears, all the anxieties come up when we are in this state. If something does not ignite you back into that creation timeline, which is the other timeline, you are going to be stuck in this negative timeline until, hopefully someone or something snaps you out of it. And I hope that this video is that little spark or is that little snap that you need to get out of that other negative timeline. Negative timeline is where, again, all your fears are, all your doubts, all of, what happens if this doesn't go right? What happens if this person doesn't like me? What happens if I don't make this amount of money this month? It's all those doubts and fears and anxieties. I want to take you from that because remember, that's the baseline of this reality. Most people fall into that because, like I said, the baseline of this reality is negative. Reality really thrives from our negative state. When we are in fear, when we are in just when we're anxious, we let other things, we let other people control us. That's why we kind of lose our power. And I don't know about you, but I don't like being in that place where I feel like I have no control over my life. This is a negative baseline that we have to work with in this reality, so it's really up to us. It takes conscious effort to get yourself from that baseline to higher up here, which is where your own creation and your own way of doing things, that's where that resides. It's me why society and reality works this way, but that's just how things are. So all I can do is really just give you some steps that I have found that have worked for me in my life, and things that I'm experimenting on a daily basis with things that work and align with me and things that don't. I'm very quick to kind of see a pattern that may come up in my life. Like if things are going really well, I will make note of that. I will literally write it down, and I will, try to identify, okay, where did this, a spark of inspiration come from? Like, how come some days I'm feeling like this? How come some days I'm feeling like this? And yes, it can become really exhausting when we are constantly monitoring ourselves. But if we don't do these things, if we don't take the time to actually observe and monitor why we do the things we do, you're gonna have a very, kind of a difficult time in creating what you need to create for yourself. It's gonna take longer for you to figure out the things that, make you happy in this life. As cheesy and cliche as that sounds, I really do mean it. What are the things that make you happy at the end of the day? It's hard to figure that out when you have all these other distractions, when you are, in that other baseline where things are negative and you're filled with fear, you're filled with anxiety, you're filled with just not these good thoughts. And I know it's not a place that we want to be in. I have been in that place many times myself. And even, sometimes now I have days where things just don't go right. So that's why it's important to observe and monitor, because if one day things don't go right, I can quickly now look at my whole day, identify what I did that kind of just ruined the day for me. Maybe it was a conversation I had, maybe I didn't, meet my income goals that day, or maybe something happened that just took me out of my flow. When I can monitor those things, it's easy for me to identify, like, okay, this is what happened. Now, tomorrow is a whole new day. Now, I'm more aware of the things that I should not do so that I can be more in flow. And let's get you out of this baseline where things are negative, things are not going your way, all the way to a place where you are so focused on what you are doing and you're so in just the present moment where everything seems to be flowing. And we are in control of the reality that we are creating. We are focused on what we want to create on this earth. We are focused on our unique message. I have 3 things for you that I want you to start implementing. And again, monitor. I want you to be conscious about the effects that these things have on a daily basis for you. So give this a try for the next week. Let's see if you can really, for once, I'm gonna call you out. Let's see if for once you can hold a habit and do it for more than 3 days without giving up. So if that's you and I'm calling you out, don't worry, we are gonna get you right. So number one, I want you to be in complete silence for 5 minutes. You can either be laying down, or you can be sitting, or you can be outside, wherever. 5 minutes of complete silence. I want you to be focused on the sounds around you. So, a lot of people like to focus on their breath, but for some reason, for me, when I'm meditating, it's really hard for some reason for me to focus on my breath. Like I cannot do it. It's actually more distracting to focus on my breath for somehow. Actually, hot yoga is really changing this. With hot yoga, I am more in tune, but I also have really amazing instructors who lead the classes. So maybe that's why. But when I am meditating on my own, it's hard for me to focus on my breath, but it's very easy for me to focus on the other sounds around me. And you may think that, that's not the point of meditating. I don't want to be listening to the noises that are happening outside. But no, that's what we want to do. We want to get outside of our body, and that includes our mind, and we want to focus on something outside of us because, 99% of the things that we focus on in here are usually about us, anyways. So I feel like if you're focusing more on yourself, you're just, I don't know, it's better to be more focused. It's better, in my experience, I have found to focus more on things around me and the noises around me because again it takes me outside of my body and outside of my head when I'm focused on something outside of me. So do that for 5 minutes, and if you are in complete silence, even better. Still, I want you to listen to that silence. Let's do this together. I want you to close your eyes. You can place your hand on your heart if you'd like, but focus on the noise. It can also be my voice. Focus on my voice. Maybe that's a good first step, is just to get you focus on something else. For once, that isn't something in your own head, in your own mind. Now, I am going to give you some time to focus on things outside of my voice and just kind of get used to this because you are going to be doing this for the next 7 days. Do you hear any noises outside of yourself? You can go back and pause that if you want to do that for longer, and maybe start your time today. Pause it, set a timer for 5 minutes, and do this. Okay, number 2 is to simply journal. And I'm gonna tell y'all about this. I want to give a huge shout out to Wild House Paper. They sent me the cutest journal. I don't know if you guys can see. I really sit down and ask myself, what do I want to do? Do I want to hop onto that project that I was working on last night? Or do I just want to read today? Like, what do I want to do? And what usually happens is I will get inspired to create and work and actually create from a place that feels inspired because I did the work to just be in flow. So I have a whole video that goes in depth on how to be more in flow on my YouTube channel. You can watch it. I'll try to link it below. But if you guys also want to grab this journal, I've also put my link below. I just love the companies that I work with over on the Mind Supply. They all match my brand and, just the message that I'm trying to spread. So thank you so much for Wild House Paper for sending me this. And I know so many people tell you to journal, but they never really tell you how. And I started journaling back in 2016 or 2017, and I've learned a lot throughout those years on what things work when journaling and what things don't. So, the number one strategy, or one of the techniques that I have that work really well when you are journaling, is kind of just doing a brain dump. So, again, when we go back to the baseline where things are negative, it's very easy to write down things that make us angry, that make us mad. So maybe start there because, the baseline is negative. You're probably in the state where you are negative. So for you to go and write down things that you're happy about. It can almost seem like we're forcing ourselves to be happy when genuinely we are not. We have all these anxious thoughts and negative thoughts running through our head. So the last thing we want to do is kind of force that positivity out. I've gotten to a place where now I can quickly identify when I am in that, in that baseline. So it's easy for me to get out of that baseline and go back to this other timeline where I'm creating, where I'm in flow, and that's where I love to be. That is where I thrive. If I can be here 24/7, right now it's not realistic for me because I'm human. It's okay to accept the negative feelings. This is life. When we're flowing, it's a wave, and that wave has negatives and it also has its positives. But it's how we learn to manage those negative. These strategies are some ways that you can navigate those lows to get yourself back into a high again. And so you can stay there for longer because, there are going to be dips. Get all those negative emotions and negative feelings out. If you have to literally write down, "Dear Diary, I'm so angry right now. This is what happened. I'm so frustrated. I'm so angry." Get that out. It's better for that anger to be on paper rather than it be in your head. This is one of the best ways to get your emotions out in a healthy way. Imagine this built up anger coming out in ways where we harm someone, where we are not, you know, talking kindly to someone else, where we're mean to other people because we're not feeling so nice ourselves. Journaling helps to get those nasty thoughts out of your head and onto paper again in such a harmless way. Free therapy. I love journaling, and starting there is a perfect way to get into journaling. Number three, the classic, the best sort of free therapy that we have is walking. Walking is so therapeutical. Therapeutical? Is that a word? Therapeutic. Why did I say therapeutical? Walking is another way to get those nasty, angry thoughts kind of onto the surface. I view walking as a middle point between journaling and the silence. So remember, I want you to be silent for 5 minutes. I want you to journal for as long as you need to, and then I want you to walk. And the walking is where, you get the benefits of journaling and you get the benefits of silence. When you are on this walk, be in that present moment again. Notice the sounds around you, outside of you. Do not be so focused on what's going on in your head because like science says, most of the thoughts that we have in our head aren't even true. Half the times we are just making up BS in our heads. For what reason? Stop doing that. It is only bringing you back to that baseline where we don't want to be. I want you all to be up here where we're all thriving, we're all doing what we freaking love. Be focused on the sounds around you. Maybe it's the wind, maybe it's just the cold. Like I'm in Canada, it's cold outside, so be focused on the cold. The cold is not going to harm you. Don't make excuses. Go on a walk every single day for the next 7 days. Do this. Make sure it's in a safe environment, of course, but make this a habit. Good habits are going to be your best friend. You might be wondering, what's the benefit? What's the purpose of having a quiet mind? And I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. The place of feeling so calm in your body is something that I feel like not a lot of people get to experience. It's through that inner work and really getting to know yourself where all of these things become a lot easy. That is where your creativity lies. That is where you are inspired. That is where you are in direct connection to source. And source can be anything that you believe in. Maybe it is God, maybe it is the universe. Even if you are an atheist, there must be something that you believe in. And if that belief is in you, amazing. That's even more of a reason to be so attuned and present with yourself. If you have that faith in yourself, like why would you want to be so filled with fear and anxiety? It's not a fun place to be. Don't do that to yourself. You guys know that we are, as humans, literally designed to be in fight or flight mode 24/7. I'm actually gonna make a post about this where I talk about how social media is moving way too fast and our nervous systems cannot keep up. Our bodies are not able to keep up with the speed that technology and AI is growing in. So just look out for that post because I think it's going to be really important, especially if you are more just when it comes to dealing with things like social media, but maybe you want to use it to spread your message, share your skills, share your knowledge, and create a theme page like I have called the Mind Supply, where I get to basically, that's my journal. I get to dump out my thoughts, and I have a community of people who relate with the things that I'm going through, and I can help them. So if that's something that you're interested in, I have a course that I'm currently running called Theme Page Academy. And inside of there, I show you how to use social media in a positive way that benefits your life and adds to your life rather than taking away from it. So if you are interested in that, it's called Theme Page Academy, and I have it linked below. We thrive in a calm state of mind. That is when we are able to solve problems. That is when we are the best versions of ourselves because we are creating from a place that is authentic. When we are forced to create, what happens is we end up copying other people. It's so amazing to see just so much content on places like Instagram and TikTok, but a lot of it can be just repetitive. And again, I'm a victim of this. I do this where I will see someone doing so amazing and they're posting a certain type of content, and I feel like I need to post that type of content. And that just doesn't align with me anymore. I still have times where I create based on things that I'm inspired by others, but at the same time, I'm way more tuned with what I actually want to share with the world. Do I just want to come on here and sell you guys BS, sell you guys nonsense? I want to create and I want to talk about things that feel exciting to me, that I'm passionate about. So I hope that you can see how excited and passionate I am about all these projects that I'm working on, like even collabing with a company like this, like, getting sent free stuff. I used to think it's just for influencers. Like, there's no way something like this is a reality for me. And I know it's like a small thing, but it means the world that I have a platform where companies are literally sending me things to try out for free. And it just opens up my mind and how many possibilities there are on social media. Again, if you use it right, if you know how to use it to grow within. I think social media has been one of my greatest teachers. It has been a place where I had a lot of failures, I had a lot of successes. I've made money, I've lost money. And while all of these things happen, we are growing, we are figuring out what things work for us and what things don't work for us. Is this even the lifestyle I want to have, or is it not? Going through that journey, going through that growth is so crucial to just growing as a human being. But it really does begin with having a calmness to yourself, being in the present moment so that we can finally figure out what it is that you want to create. Creation that comes from within and creation that you put out into the world is so much more valuable than just talking about the things that the next person is talking about. Again, be inspired. When you create in that way, it's just so much more exciting. It's fun because it comes from a genuine place of wanting to help other people rather than doing it for other reasons. I hope that this video was helpful. I hope that you gained something out of it. Again, if you want to work with me and learn more about these things, I have all the links down below. So again, Theme Page Academy is if you want to build a brand like the Mind Supply and monetize it and make money from a page where you get to talk about all the things that you love and things that you genuinely want to talk about. And inside of Theme Page Academy, I kind of help you uncover what that is for you. So we uncover that, we figure out what your unique message is, what you can share to the world, something that doesn't have resistance around it. Because again, resistance is where we procrastinate. When we are in resistance with something, there's always, gonna be something that holds us back. So removing this resistance allows for natural creation and natural flow and natural discipline. People who are disciplined genuinely love what they do, or they have a very high reason for doing the things that they are doing. It could be to provide for their family, it could be to help their loved ones. What is that driving factor for you? Have a driving factor, but also be doing the thing that you love. And these two things combined is going to bring you just so much success and genuinely happiness into your life. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one.